I didn't expect her voice to be the first sound of the evening. "Back already?" she asked, leaning on the rail of her balcony, one floor above mine. Her hair was pulled back, the kind of casual way that still made me stare longer than I should. I stopped halfway up the stairs, my backpack slung over one shoulder, pretending to fumble for my keys. Yeah, class got canceled. The truth was, I'd left hours earlier just to avoid thinking about her again, and now here she was, looking down at me like she'd been waiting. She didn't answer right away, just pressed her lips together, studying me with an expression I couldn't name. It wasn't a smile, not quite. More like she'd been caught in the act of hoping. The air between us stretched. A neighbor's dog barked somewhere. My hands tightened around the keys. I should have gone inside. She was twice my age, give or take. She had the kind of steadiness that made me feel reckless just for standing there. But instead I cleared my throat and said, "You're always out here." "Maybe I like the quiet," she said. Her tone was soft but guarded, as if daring me to believe her. The quiet. That was true. Our street was almost always hushed by nightfall. No kids running around, no cars rushing past, just the hum of a street lamp flickering on and off. A stage too big for only the two of us. She rested her arms on the balcony railing, fingers brushing the metal like she was trying to warm it. "Or maybe," she added, her eyes sliding away. I was waiting. For a second, I forgot to breathe. The words fell between us, too casual to be an accident. My pulse went wild, and I gripped the stair rail like it might steady me. "Waiting," I repeated. Her gaze met mine again, and this time, she didn't look away. "For you." The street lamp buzzed, the sound filling the silence I didn't know how to break. I shifted my weight, searching for something to say that wouldn't make me sound like an idiot. "You shouldn't do that," I muttered finally, but my voice betrayed me. Too quiet, too uneven. She tilted her head. "Why not?" I opened my mouth, then closed it. "Because it's dangerous. Because people talk. Because if I let myself answer, I'll never stop." All the reasons crowded in my throat, and not one of them made it out. Instead, I just looked at her, at the faint crease between her brows, at the way she held herself too still, like a photograph she didn't want to blur. And it hit me then, she wasn't teasing. She was lonely, and I was already too far gone. I forced a laugh, scratching the back of my neck. "You'll get bored of waiting for me. Try me," she said. The words slipped out of her like a challenge, but her hand trembled when she tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. That small, unguarded movement did something to me. It was proof she wasn't untouchable, wasn't as certain as she pretended. I took a step up, closer to her balcony. Then another. My mouth was dry. She drew in a breath like she might say more, but before she could, a sharp chime split the quiet. Her phone lit up on the table beside her chair. The glow painted her face, and whatever was on that screen made her expression falter, just for a moment. I stopped mid-step. She didn't look at me, not right away. Her fingers hovered over the phone, then curled into a fist instead. The street lamp buzzed louder. My heart matched it. Finally, she lifted her eyes to mine, and there was something there I hadn't seen before. Hesitation, maybe, or a warning. Neither of us spoke. The phone kept ringing. The phone finally stopped ringing, leaving the night too still. She didn't answer it. She just pressed her thumb against the screen until the light vanished, then exhaled, slow, shaky, like someone who'd just dodged a question she didn't want asked. I swallowed. Important. Her shoulders rose and fell. Not tonight. The way she said it told me everything and nothing at once. I didn't push. I wasn't sure I wanted to know who had called. Instead, I sat on the stair, halfway between my door and hers. The metal step was cold through my jeans. She leaned forward slightly, arms folded over the balcony railing, watching me like I was something she wasn't supposed to touch. "You're too young to sit around staring at nothing," she said after a while. "Shouldn't you be out with friends? A girl?" The question made me laugh under my breath. That's not really my thing. Which part? Friends or the girl? Both, I guess. I paused, then added before I could stop myself, "They don't really see me." That got her attention. Her eyes softened, a small crease appearing at the edge of her mouth. People rarely do, until it's too late. There was a weight behind those words, heavier than casual advice. I wanted to ask, but the way she held her coffee mug close, both hands tight around it, even though it was empty, told me she wasn't offering more. So I just asked, quietly, "Too late for you?" Her gaze darted away, toward the darkened street. For a second, I thought she wouldn't answer. Then, my husband, he doesn't live here anymore. But the silence does. The word husband rang louder in my head than the buzzing street lamp. Married. Or maybe separated. Either way, she wasn't free, not really. That's why you wait. I asked before I could stop myself. Her laugh was quick, almost bitter. No, that's why I don't expect anyone to come. Something in my chest twisted at that. She was in her 40s, self-contained, beautiful in a way that didn't need dressing up, yet she spoke like someone already past the part of life where waiting made sense. I wanted to tell her she was wrong, that I was here, but the words stuck. Too forward, too dangerous. So I sat there, gripping the step until my fingers ached. She noticed, of course. She always noticed. You're quiet tonight, she said softly. I looked up at her, and for once didn't look away. Maybe I'm just listening. Her breath caught, barely audible, but enough. For a flicker of a second, she let her guard drop. The balcony light caught her face, and the loneliness I'd only guessed at was suddenly written clear. She reached down then, almost without thinking, her hand brushing against mine where it rested on the stair rail. Just the edge of her fingers, tentative, fragile, like she might snatch it back at any second. But she didn't, and I didn't move either. The touch was nothing and everything. A whisper of warmth that felt louder than words. We stayed like that, half-connected, while the night pressed in. Neither of us said a thing. Her fingers still rested against mine when a door slammed somewhere above us. The sound snapped her hand back like fire. Shit, she whispered, straightening. I glanced up. The light in the stairwell flicked on, spilling yellow over the concrete. A man's voice followed, muffled, irritated, then footsteps. Heavy, coming down. My pulse hammered. She leaned close over the railing, her voice low, urgent. Go inside. Now. I froze. Who is it? My son, she hissed. Her eyes were sharp in a way I'd never seen. Please. Her son. My throat went dry. I'd seen him once or twice. Older than me by a few years, built like a linebacker, the kind of guy who didn't miss much. The footsteps were close now. I scrambled up the rest of the stairs and fumbled with my keys, forcing the lock just as the stairwell door swung open. I slipped inside my apartment, but I didn't close the door all the way. I left it cracked, my eye pressed to the gap. He appeared, broad shoulders, scowl already set. You out here again, Mom? It's late. Her voice was calm, but too even. Just some air? Go back inside. You should stop sitting out here, he muttered, brushing past her into her apartment. Looks weird. The door shut behind him. Silence again, except my own breathing. I leaned against my door, shaking. My heart wouldn't slow down. Weird. That's what it was, wasn't it? A woman his age and a guy like me, lingering too long in the dark. A mistake waiting to be named. I should have stayed inside. Should have cut it off before it started. But when the balcony light flicked off a few minutes later, and the faint outline of her shadow lingered against the curtain, I couldn't move. I stood in my dark apartment, staring across the small distance, imagining she was looking back. The next day, I told myself I'd avoid her. Keep it normal. Just nod hello like neighbors do. It lasted until evening. I was taking out the trash when her door opened. She stepped out, a sweater wrapped around her even though it wasn't cold. Her eyes caught mine, startled at first, then softer. Neither of us spoke. The silence was too thick. Finally, I muttered, I shouldn't be here. She gave the faintest smile. But you are. I looked down, gripping the trash bag tighter. Your son? I know, she cut in. Her voice trembled. That's why it has to stop. The words hit like a blow. I nodded, though every part of me rebelled. Yeah, stop. But neither of us moved away. The air between us crackled, charged, forbidden. She reached for the railing again, fingers curling over the metal. I took half a step closer, drawn without meaning to. Our eyes locked. My breath caught. For a moment, a dangerous, electric moment, I thought she'd let it happen. That she'd let me close the gap, erase the distance. Then a door opened somewhere down the hall. Laughter spilled out, footsteps echoing. She jerked back. I dropped the bag in the bin too hard, the sound cracking the silence. By the time the hall emptied again, she was gone inside. And I was left staring at her closed door, every nerve in my body alive. For 3 days, I didn't see her. Her balcony stayed dark, curtains drawn. I told myself it was better this way. That distance would dull whatever had started between us. But it only sharpened it. Every time I heard footsteps in the stairwell, My chest went tight. Every time I passed her door, I slowed, listening for the faintest sound inside. By the fourth night, I couldn't take it anymore. I found myself knocking before I even thought it through. 1, 2, 3 taps, quiet but desperate. The door cracked open, chain still latched. Her face appeared, tired, cautious. You shouldn't. Then why are you opening the door? I whispered back. She hesitated, eyes flicking down the hall, then unlatched the chain. The door opened wider. She stood there in a loose t-shirt and jeans, barefoot, her hair messy in a way I'd never seen. Human. Vulnerable. What do you want? She asked, but it didn't sound like anger. It sounded like fear. I swallowed hard. I want to know why you're hiding. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. She turned, walking back inside without answering. I followed, closing the door behind me. The air in her apartment was warm, faintly scented with coffee and detergent. Ordinary, except nothing about being here felt ordinary. She stood near the window, arms wrapped tight around herself. You don't understand what you're doing. Then explain it, I said. My voice was sharper than I meant, but I couldn't stop. Because all I know is you wait for me. You look for me. And when I'm not here, you disappear. Her breath hitched. She spun around, eyes flashing. You're a child compared to me. My son is older than you. The words cut, but I didn't back down. And yet I'm the one you opened the door for. She froze. The silence stretched, heavy, charged. I stepped closer, slow, careful. Her back hit the edge of the table, but she didn't move away. You think I don't want this, she said, her voice low, trembling. But I do. That's the problem. It felt like the room tilted. My pulse roared in my ears. Then stop pretending, I whispered. Her hand gripped the table so hard her knuckles whitened. If anyone found out, they won't. I was closer now, close enough to see the tiny scar near her lip, the way her breath caught every time mine did. Unless you push me away right now. She didn't push me. Her eyes locked on mine, wide, scared, hungry. The moment stretched, unbearable, unstoppable. My hand lifted before I even realized, hovering near her cheek, not touching, just close enough to feel her warmth. Say it, I breathed. Tell me you don't want me. Her lips parted, but the words didn't come. And just as the silence broke, a knock thundered at the door. Her head snapped toward it. My hand froze in the air between us. The knock came again, louder. A man's voice followed, muffled but unmistakable. Mom? You in there? The knock rattled the door a third time, harder. She tore her gaze from me and hissed, Don't say a word. Her hand pressed against my chest, firm, desperate, guiding me backward toward the hallway that led to her bedroom. I froze. Wait, please, she whispered, eyes fierce. Just go. Another knock. Mom? It's me. Open up. I slipped down the hall, hard in my throat. Her bedroom was dim, curtains drawn, the faint smell of lavender lingering in the air. I stood there in the dark, listening as she opened the front door. Her son's voice carried. You weren't answering your phone. I was in the shower, she lied without missing a beat. A pause. Then, why's the lock chain undone? My pulse spiked. I forgot. Her voice wavered, just a little. What do you want? Came to check on you, he muttered. You've been quiet. And people are talking. The silence that followed was heavier than the knock itself. Talking, she asked finally, her tone sharp, defensive. About you. About some kid who keeps hanging around. The neighbors see things, Mom. My stomach dropped. He knew. Not everything. Not yet, but enough. Her voice was calm, too calm. They're imagining things. Are they? His footsteps creaked across the floorboards, closer to where I hid. My chest felt tight, like the walls were pressing in. Then, softer, almost pleading, Don't do this to yourself again. Not after Dad. The words hit like a blow. Again. The silence in her apartment hadn't just been from a failed marriage. There was more, something broken before me, something I hadn't seen. I'm fine, she said quickly. Go home. He lingered, suspicious. Finally, the door clicked shut. I exhaled, shaky, stepping out of the shadows. She was leaning against the wall, eyes closed, her whole body trembling. What did he mean? Again? I asked. Her eyes flew open. Panic. Then anger. You shouldn't have heard that. I took a step closer. So it's true. There was someone before me. Her breath caught, lips parting, then closing again. You don't understand. Then make me understand. She turned away, pressing a hand over her mouth. The silence stretched, unbearable, before she finally whispered, "After my husband left, I got close to someone. Too close. It ruined things. Cost me people I cared about. My son never forgave me." The floor seemed to tilt under my feet. "So now what? You're scared I'll ruin you too?" Her shoulders shook, just once. "You already could." I moved closer, my voice low. "Then why not cut me off? Why open the door?" Her head turned slightly, eyes glistening, a mix of defiance and defeat. "Because I waited for you. And I hate myself for it." The words lodged deep inside me, confession and curse all at once. Before I could answer, her phone buzzed sharply on the counter. She grabbed it, glanced at the screen, and froze. Her son's name. But the message beneath it made her face pale. "Who's in the apartment with you?" Her fingers hovered above the phone screen, frozen. The glow lit her face, pale and strained. "He knows," I whispered. She turned toward me, eyes wild, whisper breaking into pieces. "You need to go? Right now." But I didn't move. Running doesn't change it. "He already suspects." Her chest rose sharply. "If he comes in here and finds you, then what?" I stepped closer, voice trembling but firm. "He'll hate me? He already does." "He'll hate you? He already doubts you. The damage is done." Her jaw tightened. She gripped the phone so hard I thought it might crack. "You don't understand what this costs me. And you don't understand what it costs me to keep quiet." My voice broke. "Every night, I wonder if you're waiting. Every morning, I regret not knocking sooner. I can't. I can't pretend anymore." She flinched, like the words hit something deep. Her hand dropped to her side, phone buzzing again, ignored. For a moment, the room was silent except for the thundering of both our hearts. Finally, she whispered, "You're just a boy." "No," I said, shaking my head. "I'm the only one who sees you." Her breath caught. Her eyes glossed with tears she refused to let fall. "Don't say that." "It's true." I pressed, stepping closer until I was inches away. "He sees a burden. The neighbors see gossip. But I see you, waiting, hiding, punishing yourself for being alive." Her lips parted, trembling. She looked at me like she wanted to believe, like the war inside her was finally too much. Then, her son's voice thundered through the door. "Mom, I'm coming in." We both froze. The handle rattled. Her eyes darted to me, panic spilling over. "Please," she whispered. "Go. If you love me at all." I grabbed her hand. Not careful, not tentative this time, desperate. "No. If I leave now, it'll always be fear. And I don't want fear to be what we remember." She shook her head, but she didn't pull away. Our hands clutched together, trembling. The door slammed open, crashing against the wall. He stormed in, eyes scanning the room, sharp and furious. And there we were, caught, fingers entwined, no excuses left. The air felt razor thin. He opened his mouth, but before he could speak, she did. "Stop." Her voice cracked, but held. "Yes, he's here. And yes, you're right. I should have told you." She tightened her grip on my hand, daring herself not to let go. "But I won't hide anymore." His face twisted, disbelief, betrayal, fury. Mine burned with shame and relief all at once. The silence that followed was unbearable. No one moved. Finally, she released my hand, stepping forward toward her son. Her voice softened, but carried. "This isn't about you anymore. It's about me. About what I can't keep pretending I don't need." Her son's chest heaved. My throat ached. I didn't know if she was choosing me, or just choosing herself. But for the first time, the truth was out, and nothing could take it back. The room held its breath. Her son's eyes flicked between us, a storm rising in him. His jaw clenched like he was about to swing, or shout, or both. But his mother lifted her hand, steady, stopping him before the explosion came. "Listen to me," she said. Her voice wasn't sharp, wasn't pleading. It was steady, the kind of voice that made you stop whether you wanted to or not. He froze, chest still heaving. "This wasn't planned," she continued, glancing back at me for the briefest moment. "I didn't want it. But it happened. And for the first time in years, I feel like I'm not invisible." Her son's nostrils flared. "He's just a kid." "I know what he is," she said quietly. Then, softer, "And I know what I am. Broken, flawed, but alive again." My throat tightened. Every part of me wanted to speak, to defend her, to tell him I wasn't going anywhere. But I stayed silent, because this wasn't my war to fight. Not yet. The silence stretched. Finally, Her son swore under his breath, raking a hand through his hair. Do whatever you want, Mom. But don't expect me to watch it. He slammed the door behind him, his footsteps fading down the stairwell. The apartment shook with the echo. I stood there, heart racing, unsure if I should move closer or leave. She sank onto the couch, covering her face with both hands. For a long moment, all I could hear was her uneven breathing. Then I crossed the room and sat beside her, not touching, not speaking, just close enough that she'd know I wasn't gone. Finally, she dropped her hands. Her eyes were red, raw, but alive in a way I hadn't seen before. You should go, she whispered. I shook my head. Not unless you want me to. Her lips trembled, caught between a smile and a sob. You're too young for this. Maybe, I said softly, but you're the one I waited for. Her eyes met mine, and for once she didn't look away. Slowly, carefully, she leaned in, resting her forehead against my shoulder. No kiss, no dramatic music, just the quiet weight of her choosing not to push me out. And for me, that was enough. The future was messy. Her son hated me. The neighbors would whisper. Maybe it wouldn't last. Maybe it would burn out the way she feared. But right then, in that small apartment with the street lamp buzzing outside, it didn't feel like fear. It felt like possibility. She whispered the same words I'd clung to since that first night. I waited for you. And I answered, steady this time, sure. I won't make you wait again. The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was fragile, hopeful, alive. For the first time, it felt like both of us had stepped out of hiding. Sparkles, did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?